Those who make peaceful revolution
probably playing the intro right now.
will make
just can't
violent
hear it. The
revolution
StreamYard's weird.
inevitable.
So I kind of have to time it.
First, what is a revolution? Revolution is the solution.
Nobody can probably hear us right now. It says we're live and everything, but it's probably
The motive
playing
of a
the intro as we
revolution.
speak right now.
Well, now,
The objective of a revolution.
we televised.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution. I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See them all, be better run away.
This generation of America
Yeah, the intro's
has
playing
already
right
had
now.
enough,
So it's good.
more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
It always does this when I have a guest. All right, that should be it. We should be live. How are we doing, Valley Girl? Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Let me make sure that we are streaming properly on all platforms here. Shows my intro is still going, actually. Here, hold on really quick. Okay, I think we're good. All right. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic Sunday evening. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. I'm here with my friend from Southern California, right?
Yep, Southern California, the OC area.
Oh, I thought you were out in like the actual valley. Like, oh, you know what? It switched my camera too. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, we're
God.
starting a little bit late because, like, first I was having audio issues, and then I don't know, he was having some stuff going on. But yeah, a little about me. Like, it's kind of a play on words, right? Because I never realized how strong my California accent was until I got on X and I started like speaking in spaces and started streaming on my own. Because I stream on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I have a new deep dive series coming out as well. And so I kept hearing the playback, and I was like, okay, I sound like a basic bitch, right? So I did spend some time in the Valley. I went to school out there, but now I'm a little bit more based, a little bit more down south. So it's basically the Californian accent, right?
I love Orange County. I lived out in Upland for a while, and I was commuting all the way from Upland to Santa Monica every day. It was brutal. And then I worked a lot in Pasadena and a lot out in the valley, like the Woodland Hills area and shit. So
Yeah,
I
the
like Southern
405.
California.
Yeah, I mean, the 405 is kind of like the worst freeway in America, though. Like, I would say it's pretty up there. It takes you like 45 minutes to really get anywhere. But the Valley in general, I think when people do come out to California, they should go like not West Hollywood, like people, talk about. Definitely not downtown LA, where you have, Skid Row, right? But there are like beautiful parts of Southern California that are often like slept on because people, just see like WeHo and all these other places on TV, and they're like gravely disappointed when they come out here.
Orange County's great. Santa Monica's great.
Yeah.
I like Venice still. But yeah, there's a lot of downtown's always sucked. I mean, even before California went to hell, downtown wasn't like a place people went.
It's gotten really bad though. Like I think I was watching like a TikTok or something where this girl like wears a bulletproof vest when she goes out because she's like a single female that like lives out on her own, and she's just like freaked out.
It seems a bit much. I hope she's armed because it'd just be weird if she's walking around with plates without a firearm. It'd just be weird.
Right.
So let me see. Hold on. Let me check in with the chat here. Wally World, Impure Hunter, nice to see you. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have any of the litter box
haters.
brigade jumping. Yeah, because if you guys aren't aware, I Cat Turd put me on blast for commenting on one of his posts because God, he's just such a freaking. I mean, I called him a cultist because he is. So let me explain my position on who you vote for and whether you should criticize them or not. If you vote for somebody, in my opinion, it's even more important for you to criticize that person, especially if they're not doing the things that you voted for. Primarily the Epstein stuff that we're going to talk about right now.
Yes.
All the way leading up to this, you heard Trump and tons of other people talking about how they're essentially going to release the list, even though the list is sort of like a euphemism for the Epstein files. And my biggest thing was the Epstein stuff ties into all the other deep state stuff, the people that are pulling the strings behind. And they're trying to conflate it as just like, oh, the things happened 20 years ago, and the victims, if they haven't got justice now, they're not. It's not about, like, not to throw shade on the victims at all, because it was horrific what he did. But I want to know who he worked for. I want to know who he had blackmail on. And I know we're not going to see like what the actual blackmail was, but there should be some sort of disclosure on who was behind, who was his handler, what was he doing, especially if it wasn't for our government. And a lot of people are saying that. And then there's this like really inorganic seeming defense of Trump, like the Democrats weaponized the Epstein files against Trump. Like, what the fuck is going on? Seriously,
don't even get me started on that. I have been going scorched earth on this. Like my last few posts, so you can find me on X at the Kelly Melody. I have just been criticizing this administration, criticizing the handling of the Epstein files, criticizing a lot of things, right? Because at the end of the day, that is what you campaigned on. And so, some people are arguing, oh, well, Biden didn't release the files. And if Trump was complicit in the files, it would have been released. Well, not really, because when you think of DC and when you think of how deep the corruption goes, regardless of what presidency releases the files, half of DC is going to be on that list. It's essentially the uniparty at this point for me.
I think more than half.
Yeah, and so Biden also didn't run on that. So for Trump to run on that, and then I watched the stream. I think I sent it to you earlier of Kyle Seraphin. I think he's an FBI whistleblower, and
he was one of the. Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, and he compiled like all of the receipts, right? All of the interviews. There we go, being girl hair. All of the interviews, just all of the back and forth while Bongino had his Rumble show before Kash. When these people were both private citizens. And the body language changed, the tonality changed, the need for justice changed, and then the gaslighting became more apparent once they were in the administration. Kash going on Joe Rogan and saying like, "Would I really do this to the American people? You think I would withhold like information?" It's like, well, yes, if you're complicit in an administration that is actually advising you to. Unless you're ready to resign, unless you're ready to tell the media, I'm not going to unalive myself. Like, yeah, I think you probably would send on information if it meant your safety.
Words out of my mouth right there. I don't think people have, for some reason, even though everybody should know by now that this wasn't just some human trafficking ring. This was a blackmail operation. And I mean, it gets talked about all the time, but Whitney Webb's book details this in excruciating detail. And she doesn't just, the volume 1 of her book, if you've read it, it doesn't even talk about Epstein. It's all the stuff leading up to Epstein, and it demonstrates a pattern of behavior, primarily starting with Meyer Lansky and how he got blackmail on J. Edgar Hoover. And he had a hotel that he had hidden cameras, and he would take pictures of high-level politicians, getting them in compromising positions in order to hold it over their head, saying you're going to do what I want you to do, or else this information is going to come out. And then we get P. Diddy, who has his whole place wired for sound and audio. And like, it's this pattern of behavior, and we haven't gotten anything. And then the whole Binder Gate deal, when, with all the influencers, and I've heard DC Drano, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I get what he's saying, and Jack Posobiec both came out and said, like, look, that wasn't talked about when we came here. When we came to the White House that day, we were told that we were going to meet with Pete Hegseth, and we were going to talk about, I don't remember. It wasn't the Epstein files, though. And then they
Liz Wheeler was another one who came out against that too. because she was getting criticized really badly in regards to that.
Yeah, I like Liz Wheeler too. So,
Yeah.
and I like Shia too from Lives of TikTok. She's cool. She gets a lot of hate, but I like her. I like Posobiec. I like Cernovich. I like a lot of those guys. But that whole debacle was, I mean, in a sense, that was gaslighting in itself. It was like, here's the Epstein files. Here, look, all these binders. And then you open it up and you look at it and you're like, wait a minute. This is all the exact same information that was already released. And it's even
archived
more
information.
But it was already, but what's fucked up is it was even more redacted than the information that was already existing.
I didn't know that.
It had more redactions in it. It was,
I wasn't aware of that.
yeah, so that whole thing was just weird. And you had Pam Bondi saying it's on my desk, like I want to play this quick clip because it's sort of Trump's it's Bondi getting asked about it. They're sitting, it's not like a press conference, they're sitting around the table. I'm sure you've seen this clip, but I want to play this really quick. You know what? Why is StreamYard? I don't know where anything went now. It's like it updated.
Am I jinxing your StreamYard?
Well, where's oh, okay. It's just in a different spot.
It?
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I just updated Brave browser. I use Brave to stream for everything. Little shout out to Brave browser, and it works really well. But I just updated Brave browser, and this is the first stream I've done since I updated it. Okay. So here, let's go over to Benny Johnson here. He posted this clip, and it's Trump's super weird gaslighting response. So let's just play this really quick.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night set?
Yeah.
So before we hear what Trump says, he's also not asking necessarily about Epstein. He's asking who did he work for? And then Trump's response is it's so frustrating because it's like he's not asking details about like what Epstein did or anything like that. He's asking, hey, it's alleged that he worked for intelligence agencies. The same intelligence agencies, the deep state that was going after him for years, that he said he was going to drain the swamp and all that crap. And now it seems like he's defending them.
Sure.
So defensive.
Sure.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time? And do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
And when that Fox News interviewer asked her about that, she didn't say anything about the MLK and the RFK or the JFK files. And he specifically asked about the client list, and she said, it's sitting on my desk. So more gaslighting. Like, I played enough of this clip.
More deflection.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like, I was talking about this with some friends last night. Trump needs some PR training. I mean, like, he is so defensive. He is making himself look guilty of what exactly. I'm not gonna put that out there because we just don't know enough information. But that is a very defensive response. It's almost like he's coddling her. And keep in mind that the AG is supposed to work independently of the administration. And yet, it seems like every action that Pam Bondi has done has kind of been at the direction of Trump and Susie Wiles, from my perspective. So, it kind of destroys her credibility, absolutely. But I do also think that she's a patsy in this situation. I don't necessarily think that she lied about having files on her desk. I think that there was some change of course that happened. And I think that Trump just does not want to talk about it anymore because there's so many inconsistencies with this whole process, with all of the interviews, with all of the back and forth. He just wants it to go away, right?
Well, I think somebody above him wants it to go away, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if there seems to be this huge consensus, Tucker Carlson, you've seen his clips going out at TPUSA. I mean,
Which was
it's kind
surprising.
of crazy.
Which
Super
was
surprising.
Yeah.
And you're even getting what's his name? Littleface. What's his Charlie Kirk. You're even getting him asking about Israel. And he's super pro Israel. And you
that's
see
where his
Tucker
donors come from, right?
Well, we'll see if that's going to continue to be the case. But
I mean,
you know what's funny?
I'm never going to work for TPUSA now, but
yeah, probably not. What, was that in the works or something?
No.
Oh, okay. So
just,
the weird,
Israel.
well, a weird thing about Charlie Kirk, and this shocked me. You remember right after October 7th, Charlie Kirk went on Patrick Bet-David, and he starts talking about, the attack on October 7th. And he says, I got to ask, it took 6 hours to respond. Was there a stand down order? Like, whoa, Charlie Kirk's asking if the Israeli government ordered their military to stand down in order to allow the attack to continue. Like, really think about the implications of what he's asking. I mean, that's some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff, right? And when October 7th happened, I knew nothing about Israel. I didn't want to ask about Israel. It was one of those taboo subjects that I just sort of steered away from. And when I was a kid, my dad said, it's the same boomer trope that you get from tons of people. He was like, Michael, if the Palestinians put down their weapons, there'd be peace tomorrow. But if the Israelis put down their weapons, they'd be slaughtered. And I heard that for my whole life. So I just thought it was the truth. And then I see this reporter on October 7th talking about how they're putting babies in ovens and beheading babies and shit. Now, I just immediately put out a post that says babies in incubators vibes. Do you remember that from the Iraq War? They're like, they're throwing babies out of incubators. That girl whose dad was like an asset. So I didn't know anything about anything at all before that. And my first inkling was like, this just doesn't seem organic. This seems odd. But anyway, it's just to say that Charlie Kirk is even saying stuff. Megyn Kelly's saying stuff. Jack Posobiec is saying stuff. Even Gunther Engelman on there, who's super Zionist shill, is saying stuff. And there seems to, I mean, on July 8th, even Grok was saying some stuff, if you noticed. Did you see that?
He's still... Yeah, I think Grok is still kind of spurging out a bit.
That was hilarious. He you saw he started calling himself Mecha Hitler. Like, what the fuck happened? That shit was bonkers. I have some of that pulled up, but it's like I got way too many other things that I want to cover. Yeah, so I actually want to get through all this stuff, but we're gonna talking a lot. I do want to kind of read Trump's thing that he put out, the kind of longer post. And Pew Hunter says Elmo's having a real one right now. What is this Elmo shit? What are you guys talking about with Elmo?
Okay. I don't know if you want to put it up on the screen, but I told you briefly. Elmo is saying he's just he's going off on Trump. He is going off on the protected class. I don't know.
Oh, and my God.
Some people are even saying that Elmo, like someone took over Elmo's account and they think it's like Yee, because it is like Kanye level shit that's going on right now.
It's 100%. 100%. He says, kill all the Jays. And then this chick Anna reposts him and says, if I find whoever hacked the Elmo, I swear to God. And Elmo says, fuck you gonna do, N-word. What the muting Elmo because he is hacked. Fuck you and your transmission daughters, N-word. What is going on with Elmo right now? This is
Okay, like,
insane.
it's probably not even a hack. Like, who knows?
Who runs the
Tensions-
Elmo account?
I mean, tensions are high right now. It almost comes off like it's a left-wing account, right? Because obviously people on the right are like are very upset with Trump, but rarely anyone on the right has actually been like, Trump is a kitty diddler, like this Elmo account is saying. Okay.
Right. And I don't think Trump, it's like, what's funny is if you read One Nation Under Blackmail and dug into all this stuff before Trump got into office, you already know that there was a major Trump Epstein connection, but they also had a major falling out. And it does seem like Trump saw Epstein doing some shady shit that he didn't like, and they got into like a big dispute over real estate.
And that's why he was
Florida.
banned at Mar-a-Lago. Correct?
Right.
Or allegedly. Allegedly.
Right. So I'm not thinking that Trump is doing this to protect himself because he's in the files. He did fly on the airplane though, but they had a relationship. And so, yeah, I don't think Trump is I don't think you're going to see any like Epstein Island shit about Trump.
I mean, so my thing is Diligent. If you're familiar with him on X, he has been doing
He was
a lot
bugging
of.
the shit out of me last night.
Was he?
On that space, yeah. Him and Clint Russell kind of got into it a little bit, but
yeah. You know how he's been testing out like the beta version of Grok as like his co-host to go through and answer questions and stuff like that.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, so he's been doing that, and one of the spaces he was like, okay, from 2005 to current day, so about like a 20-year span, who are all of the people who are in the flight logs? And Trump was not named. And then he said, okay, now widen that search and do it from like the 1990s up to current day. And that's when Trump was mentioned. So like you said, they parted ways, it seems like in the 90s. And we know this activity has been going on for quite a while. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that Trump first wanted to run in 2000. He first wanted to run in 2000 with Oprah Winfrey. I don't know if you were aware of that. And
I remember.
Yeah. And so, maybe that's when he wanted like a clean bill of health, a clean conscience. I don't know. Again, you could be 100% correct that he's not involved. The thing that bothers me is just the gaslighting from the entire administration, but then also that defensiveness. I think you really do have to question a bit. Some people could say, oh, he was just being really protective of, Pam Bondi because he doesn't want her to be the patsy. But again, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And it's everything that we were told was going to be this huge revelation, the administration of transparency, the golden age. If you wanted to be so transparent, then why are you not phrasing, closing the DOJ investigation into this in a more sensitive manner? Like he was just like, why are you guys still talking about this? Like this was so yesterday. And it's like, that doesn't sit well with me.
And I'm making a statement saying there's no way Trump was involved. There's no way they have any dirt on him at all. I wouldn't be shocked if it came out that there was some very unsavory stuff. We know kind of how he was with women, especially back in the 90s and early 2000s. But I'm not getting the vibe that he's trying to protect himself here. I'm getting the vibe that he's trying to protect other people, and he's getting a lot of pressure to make this whole thing go away. And like what you're saying with how defensive he's getting about this, it does give you a whole thou doth protest too much vibe. So I want to read this. I want to read this statement that he put out. It's kind of long, but I want to read the whole thing just because. You good? I'm just going to read it, and then tell me to pause if you want to react to anything specific in here. Okay.
Oh, I've already seen this, but we can
There
always
might be some people that haven't read it yet, but
critique
I mean,
it some more, right? Yeah.
I want to read it, and I want to critique it, and I want to get your sort of feedback on it. So, all right, this is from Donald J. Trump. He put this out, I believe, yesterday, and he says, "What's going on with my boys, and in some cases, gals? They're going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job being capitalized. We're on Team MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world." I want to do his voice so bad. "And selfish people are trying to hurt it, all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers of the criminal Biden administration who conned the world into Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein file. This is like the ultimate deflection. They created the Epstein files. Yeah. And it's like, I'll continue. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now so-called friends are playing right into their hands. All of us were criticizing all of these things the whole time. Like, in fact, like what got me like on Team Trump was like how they're going after him about the Russiagate shit, you know? And so it's like, you don't need to say any of this. We're already on board with this. It's holding you to account for what you said you were going to deliver. Like, a lot of people want to see fucking people in jail, like deep state people. Why haven't we learned anything about Thomas Crooks, the guy that tried to fucking kill you? Where's his silverware? Is that sitting on? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A year ago today.
And that's what's funny is somebody just responded because of the cat turd shit. They posted a picture of me. When that happened, I was actually taking a nap. And I have a friend that makes t-shirts. I woke up and I see like the picture of, Trump with blood on his face. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I drive down to my friend's t-shirt shop. I took the picture and I just had her make "You missed, fuckers." And I took a screenshot. I took a picture and I posted it on the internet. And like, I was fully on board with all that shit. And somebody just posted a picture of me wearing that shirt. And they're like, "Wasn't this you like a year ago?" Yeah. And I'm not like, just because you're criticizing Trump for the way he's handling the situation doesn't mean that you're now some sort of leftist or some shit like that. Like, this is cult thinking to me. It's insane. And again, if you voted for somebody for specific reasons, you should be holding them to account. And, he closed the border. That's great. He released Ross Ulbricht. That's great. The economy seems to be doing a little better. I don't know. I'm in California. I can't tell. So, but
yeah, I was just going to say, you and I can't tell because gas has been $5 for as long as we can remember. I almost feel like the presidency, I don't actually feel this way, but being in California, I do not see a difference regardless of if it's a Biden presidency or Trump presidency, because I think we have so much taxation because of our spike in the minimum wage, because of the supply and demand, because of the housing crisis. Like, it's not going to be as radical of a difference here as opposed to other states,
Right. But I mean, if the economy is doing better because of tariffs or whatever, they still pass the big, beautiful bill, and it's like, there's a lot of good things in that bill. But I mean, just the Pentagon alone got $1.5 billion more on top of what they normally get. So it's like, not only are you defending the deep state, you're giving them $1.5 billion more. And what happened to ending the war in Ukraine? What happened to ending the war in Gaza? All of these things. And like, he's just not living up to the reasons that I voted for him. Primary reasons that I voted for him. I'm pro-free speech. I'm anti-war. Like, that's really it. And the border, But so now you're seeing these anti-Semitism laws where if you're a non-citizen, here legally, but if you criticize Israel here, we're going to kick you out of the country. Like, I'm not down with that, and like, that's not, oh, well, they're not citizens. It's like, okay. So do they not have, like, free speech to me isn't a right that's given to you by the Constitution. You should be able to say whatever the fuck you want because of God, not. Anyway, I want to continue with this statement here.
Yeah, 'cause
So
I definitely do have thoughts on this. So I know there's a little bit more in here.
yeah, there's like another page. So why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? Because, like you said earlier,
Because
mutually
you're all
assured destruction.
complicit. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yep.
all of them. This is a nonpartisan issue. Freaking
Yep.
satanic pedophiles don't stick to one side of the aisle. They
Yep.
haven't even given up on the sorry. It's they haven't even given up on the JFK or Martin Luther King files, no matter how much success we have had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, a safer world where Iran will not have any nuclear weapons.
Hey, hold on. That's inaccurate. That's inaccurate because wasn't it only partially destroyed?
Well, I don't think there's any conclusive evidence on whether it was partially destroyed or if they even got the enriched uranium out of there. But the point is, they weren't even, I mean, if you listen to Scott Horton, they weren't trying to make a nuclear weapon.
Another thing is that, I was going to say, another thing is that, and I'm sure you have more to say about this take, is that Netanyahu, for the past 25 years, ever since 1995, he has gone on to CNN, he's gone to different news networks, and he said that
5 days.
Iran is going to have a nuclear weapon within 6 months. He's been saying that.
Yeah, right. And so according to this, the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, they're allowed to enrich uranium up to 60%. And there's like different levels of enrichment. And, you know, it's like 3% for nuclear energy. It's like 20% for certain like hospital applications, like radiology and shit like that. And then 60% is, it's like enough to make a dirty bomb, but you're still allowed to enrich up to 60% according to this treaty. And the way Scott Horton puts it is like it's like like saying we have 60, we're enriched up to 60%. We've mastered the cycle. We've mastered the enrichment cycle. If you guys push us too hard, we can ramp up and we can make a nuclear weapon. It's like a deterrent in that way. We're not actually trying to make one, but we are going to go up to the line and, you know, protect ourselves. But what I think is they weren't trying to make a nuclear weapon, and now after we bombed their facilities, I think they're going to be more likely to pursue a nuclear deterrent. But that's just like one thing he says in there that's like, but that's like another thing that I was criticizing Trump over. Like, this isn't a W in my book, going in there and bombing granted, it didn't turn into World War III, you know, thankfully there's a ceasefire right now, but I don't see any of this shit holding up. I don't see Netanyahu being like, okay, we're good now. Like, okay, so
you and I are on the same page. Yeah. By the way, you and I are on the same page. I voted for, you know, non-interventionalism. I voted for, you know, again, no new wars. I voted for, you know, securing the border. I voted for the declassification of the Epstein files. Voted for making women's spaces safer, which, you know, he did hold up to a degree, but I'm not seeing too many wins right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. We are about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in 100 years. Okay. And we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, all capital, which will continue to be the complete priority. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending months after months looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Radical left-inspired.
Why does he keep referring to the radical left and not realizing that, because we know the White House account on X is active. We know JD Vance is active. We know Pam Bondi is active. We know that this administration is chronically online. So is he just purposely turning a blind eye and ignoring that this isn't the radical left and this is actually his voter base that all have these thoughts?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, I don't know if he realizes how much of he's usually pretty perceptive to that. Like, he stopped
Yeah.
talking about the vaccines about halfway through his last campaign, like he sort of picked up on the, because remember, it was like the greatest vaccine, Operation Warp Speed was such a success, like all that garbage. And everybody's like, boo, like nobody is down with that shit. And he stopped talking about it, but he's not getting the clue.
Of.
Yeah, kind of. Right. He
Kind
still
of.
wants to pat himself on the back about it.
He
But
still like loves that he did Operation Warp Speed.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if any of this is getting back to him, but yeah, it is like, I mean, outside of Twitter, because you're seeing this, and it seems like an astroturfing campaign to me. You got idiots like Cat Turd, who before all this shit was talking about how the Epstein stuff needs to be released, and now he's just like, everybody get over it. Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. All right, I'm almost done here. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's when I'm sorry, Pam Bondi. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they need to do the same thing and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she was looking into as AG and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about.
Excuse
Fuck
me.
off.
Excuse me.
Off. Yeah. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
That's so fucking tone deaf. And he keeps doubling down and he keeps doubling down and he keeps doubling down. And, also to the people who did look into Russiagate, this is like, I would be so upset, right? There are people that have looked into this for years that now the Trump administration is ignoring. There are J6 prisoners that he has not pardoned.
Right.
I'm not quite familiar with what he's saying in regards to Bondi looking into 2024, considering he won by a landslide. But it's basically like, and he said in another True Social post, I don't know if you've seen that one, and I think it was like a few days ago, but he called Epstein a solo creep.
Solo?
Yeah, he called him like a solo creep, like basically insinuating that he acted alone. And
Right.
it's just like, we have victims that have come out and said that they were trafficked at, I think it's like, I forgot her last name. I saw it earlier on Kyle's live stream. It was like, she goes by Miss Stein, and she has been trafficked since she was trafficked at the age of 10 years old. And she has spoken out. There's a couple of accounts on here that say that they were victims of Jeffrey Epstein. There's a minute missing from CCTV, which does not happen at every prison like they are trying to tell us that it does. Just he's trying to, it almost feels like it's like a campaign tweet. Like, this is what I've done so far, like promises made, promises kept, except you did not keep one of the biggest promises that you made. So the whole thing is like deflection.
Right.
To
And
me.
more weapons to Ukraine. Like,
Yeah.
But to the prison cell thing first of all, it wasn't even a picture of the outside of his cell. It was the outside of the cell block, like the whole cell block. And like you said, there's a minute missing. And I think it was Zero Hedge put out an article. They're like, no, we analyzed this footage, and this footage was messed with using some sort of like Adobe program. Did you see that? They analyzed the metadata.
No.
And it's like, yeah, they're saying
No.
they can't say exactly what was done to the video, but this isn't like a clean all the way through video. They did some shit.
Yeah, there was some mental gymnastics going on. Like, I saw some posts that were like, oh, maybe it was like daylight savings. And I was like,
what?
yeah.
Don't forget to turn the clocks back 1 minute. What the fuck? All right, so we got all this astroturfing going on, and it's like, so the same people that were like, we need to bomb Iran, turn them into a parking lot, and the same people that are like, we need to turn Gaza into a parking lot.
Yeah.
All those same people are the same ones being like, there's nothing to see here with Epstein. So weird how that all works. But king of those people is freaking Ben Shapiro here, and he's talking about why the Epstein
Oof.
thing isn't that big of a deal. So let's play this one really quick, because what's funny is Matt Walsh, who obviously is on Daily Wire.
Daily Wire is coming out with some very level-headed tweets there after he came back from vacation.
Right. And it's not
Yeah.
even like, yeah, you wonder when are they gonna Candace Owens him. So let's play this quick clip from Ben Shapiro here.
However, when President Trump speaks for the American people more generally, and he says, guys, don't we have better things to do? You can understand his irritation. The man is trying to negotiate an end to a war in the Gaza Strip. He's trying to negotiate an end to a war in Ukraine. He's attempting to revivify the American economy. He's attempting to crack down on illegal immigration. On a list of American priorities by the polls, the Epstein-Maxwell case comes in pretty close to zero, just on a list of priorities. However, when President Trump speaks for the American people more generally, and he says, guys, don't we have better things to do? You can understand his irritation. The man is trying to negotiate an end to a war in the Gaza Strip. He's trying to negotiate an end to a war in Ukraine. He's attempting to revivify the American economy.
You know what? I don't even like completely disagree with what he's saying there. The thing is, releasing the files, which you have, this isn't something that's like you got to throw a whole team on it, and these are promises made, and these are important details to the people that voted for you. And it's not about trying to get justice for the poor women that were human trafficked, though that is also a huge part of it. It's looking at it like all the moves that you're making, are you making them because you're blackmailed or you're threatened? And that goes to the whole thing that Epstein was doing. So it's like all of this deep state shit that's going on directly ties to what Epstein was doing. And this is more about just releasing the files. We don't know who he was working for, exactly what he was doing, and why they were doing it. Who is he blackmailing?
Well,
are they?
Yeah.
What?
I was going to say another thing to agree with your point is you said he doesn't even have to put a team together, but like they claim they did put a team together, right?
Right.
They basically said, we have been going over hours and hours of footage. I actually brought up some notes while I was, just doing some research, and it's like Pam Bondi said she had put like a giant team together. There was over 250 victims that she personally saw on the tape. So this is kind of like my argument. If you claim there's no list, which we know there's a list, but if you're going to claim there's no list, and you claim that you do not want to put out pornographic material of minors, I completely understand that as well. But couldn't you identify the adults in those hours of video footage and release those names?
Right. Well, she said it was just a bunch of CP. It was just a bunch of cheese pizza. That's all it was, and we can't release that to the people. But and to the list, like I've been saying for a while, like there isn't just some list of like these are who his clients are, but there kind of is. He kept very detailed records. He has a black book of I want to know, like, okay, this he's probably got a file on every freaking person. So like, here's my Bill Clinton file. This is what I got. This is
it's blackmail.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And that's why they won't release it.
Right. Because didn't Trump recently say too, like on Bill O'Reilly? I couldn't find the clip, but apparently he was on Bill O'Reilly's show and he said, if essentially if we release the files, a lot of really important people would go down. And it's like, yeah, that's what the fuck we want.
That's the point. I thought I saw it on X. Let me see if I'm able to pull it up. If you're not full with clips for tonight, but
no,
I did see that on my feed.
Please try to find, if you can find the actual audio, please find it. And I'm going to play the rest of this Ben Shapiro clip. It's only like 10 more seconds.
Sure. Yeah.
He's attempting to crack down on illegal immigration. On a list of American priorities by the polls, the Epstein-Maxwell case comes in pretty close to zero, just on a list of priorities. However, when President Trump speaks...
Yeah.
It like what's fucked up is like I kind of get what he's saying. It's just I don't think he believes that. Like he just wants to talk about how like this is all in the past, you know, Ghislaine's locked up, this and that. But the blackmail aspect of it, just the whole everything that's happening right now, the anti-Semitism laws, the astroturfing of we need to go to war with Iran, like all of this shit ties into it, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I can't stand Ben Shapiro, so
Yeah.
I'll keep going
Yeah.
here.
I
Well-
did find, so I found the Newsweek article, but I didn't find the actual audio.
That's what I found too. I found just
Okay.
like, here. Read the quote from the Newsweek article of what he said regarding who would go down. I know it's probably pretty long.
Yeah. All right.
well-
So, I think, no, it does have the video. I'll send it to you.
Do you have the ability to share your
It has
screen?
the video on there.
Don't you have the ability to share your screen?
Yeah, or I could.
You can just send it to me if
Yeah,
that's
I
easier.
can do that. Yeah, let me go ahead and drop it in the private chat here.
Can I share from the private chat? Let me see. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Okay. It does have the video. So let me see if I can share that. And he is talking with Bill O'Reilly, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I can. All right. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Let's play this from Donald Trump's interview with Bill O'Reilly here. Is it up on screen?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Epstein?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh.
It left some lingering mysteries of
All of the things.
Oh yeah, it's just the that's just the Pam Bondi thing.
Well,
Let's see.
what the article says. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, as you're looking through that, I'm going to.
Oh, okay. It's on. Okay. So what we need to do is because you can pull up something in the meantime. It says it was News Nation with Cuomo. So if we can somehow see if we can search that.
I just more want to see the quote. Okay, here's
I
the
know,
quote
but
right here. It says,
I saw the video. Like I swear
Oh,
I
you
saw it
did?
on my timeline. Yeah, Cuomo News Nation.
all right, see if you could find it, because after we played the Ben Shapiro thing, this ties into it. I have I don't need to put it up on screen. So we got, well, actually, yeah. You know what? No. So this ties into all the cat turd shit that's going down with my account. I need to make this about me, of course, right? I'm
But
gonna make
yeah,
this about me.
so what exactly happened? Are you just having a ton of people going after you right now?
Yes, and it's hysterical though, because they're all calling me like a communist and a leftist and shit like that, and saying go take another booster. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah, it's hysterical. So, all right, let me go over to Matt Walsh post. It all started with Matt Walsh's post.
Let's start from the beginning.
I keep going to the wrong thing because like StreamYard's all out of whack for me now. Okay, so this is from Matt Walsh, who's also at the Daily Wire, that seems to have a different opinion from Ben Shapiro here. So Matt Walsh says, up until 10 seconds ago, there was a unanimous agreement that Epstein was a pedophile and child sex trafficker with high-profile clientele who all must be exposed and brought to justice. Now, out of the blue, we're being told that none of that is true, and anyone who believes this thing that everyone believed is a whack job and a conspiracy theorist. This is the kind of shameless 180-degree unexplained pivot that leftists typically specialize in. Very weird to see it happening on the right. So then Elon responds with easy to tell who is a paid influencer. So this is where I come in. So like so Elon says easy to tell who is a paid influencer, and that pissed off Cat Turd, because Cat Turd is either a paid influencer or he's an absolute bootlicking cultist maniac who will refuse to criticize anything that Trump does. Trump could say, you know what, we're opening up the border, and all of a sudden Cat Turd would be pro open borders. It seems. So Cat Turd says, I'll share this. So this is Catrid's thing. He says, I don't drop the F-bomb much on here. He's reposting Elon, who said, easy to tell who's a paid influencer. He says, I don't drop the F-bomb much on here, but if there's anything I'm sick and tired of, it's this.
Let's go, boomer.
Yeah, dude. Every time there's a controversial issue such as tariffs, Iran bombing, Epstein, etc., we continue to support Trump. MAGA gets accused of being paid. Okay. To be perfectly clear, although I've been offered many times, I've never taken a dime from any political party, political organization, even Trump organization for tweets or for my views. Never.
Okay, wait. So stop there.
Okay.
That means he has been offered by super PACs, and he has been offered by the Trump organization. So, there's two things. He either is being directly paid by a super PAC, and that is easy to look up if you were to get his government name. But if he's not, he's still monetizing from all of his time on X, monetizing on different platforms, monetizing from, different appearances that he's made. So either way, this is his, moneymaker, right?
And I hear he sells cat turd coffee. I wonder what it tastes like. Okay, so he says, never one penny. Thomas Massey lied and accused me of this and couldn't produce a single receipt. Lying fraud. You know why? There isn't any. Anyone says I have is a damn liar. I don't go to any political events ever. The only thing I go do is my turd stock event, which is about music. Unlike Matt Walsh and Elon Musk, I don't have tons of employees, a team, a staff, LOL. It's just me shit posting in the middle of nowhere. So now's where it becomes about me, right? So,
all right, let's see.
Let me put my narcissism on full display. So I just said, so you're a cult member who refuses to criticize anything Trump does. Okay, I'm not sure if that's better or worse. And so and then he did this. He took a screenshot of me, and he just says, has anyone ever heard of this podcast? Well, they have now, Catcher. So thank you. Yes.
Thank you for the free publicity.
Yeah. And then everybody just started raging.
How many viewers? How many viewers do we have right now on X?
Barely any, like 400, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
No, I don't get. No, my show doesn't do very well. But I don't get paid for this. I don't make any money off this. I'm not even monetized on YouTube. I get from Twitter, I get $80 every 2 weeks, which is cool. I'm not complaining, but I'm not doing this for money. I genuinely am saying my opinions. And this show is supposed to be about California issues, which is what you and I should really be talking about. That's my lane, California issues. And it's funny because I'm being called a leftist Democrat communist and shit like that. And I'm constantly raging against how California has been turned into a socialist hellhole.
We literally want Newsom gone, both of us.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If you would love to have me back, we can do a whole episode dedicated to California issues, and I can go on an unhinged rant.
Completely. I'm absolutely going to hold you to that, because actually you're the first guest that I've had on that I'm usually it's an interview when I have somebody on.
Yeah.
It's interview style, but I've been looking for somebody to come on and sort of rant and rave with me about issues as a co-host, so that you're co-hosting my show with me right now, and it's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, we had a couple conversations and just went into it to just talk about, whatever's going on. We didn't do a lot of prep, and it just means that that's really organic, and that's the kind of thing you want to watch, right?
Yeah, my shows aren't they're not scripted at all. I pull up different things I want to talk about, and then I just go on unhinged rants. So
I did also find, I sent you the link. It's with Bill Riley reiterating that conversation that he had with Trump from the News Nation X account.
All right, let me pull this up. Oh, okay. All right. All right, let's play this. So, okay, that actually worked out well. So, share this instead. All right. Ooh, that's not a great. Oh, look at Bill. Man, my dad used to watch Bill O'Reilly back when I was in high school. He is looking rough right now. You can see this, right?
Yeah, but that's also like a really bad starting point. That's a really bad thumbnail, guys. Great
I
job.
know. I know. And he is an older gentleman, but geez. All right. Poor Bill. All right. Let's listen to what Bill has to say about Trump and the Epstein files.
I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be. But you certainly can have Attorney General Bondi say, this is what we know. And, you know, we're going to protect the innocent. And he's a heinous individual. In that press conference, sitting next to Pam Bondi should be Merrick Garland, the Attorney General under Joe Biden, who had this material for 4 years. 4 years Biden had it. Yeah, you don't hear that from the left, do you?
See, so okay. When people say the Epstein files, they're typically thinking about like what the FBI has put together. What happened to Epstein's files, the files that he had on all the different people, and even the search warrant that the FBI had when they ultimately searched his house? I guess it was super narrow. Like they were restricted to what they can look for. And I want to know what Epstein had on other people. You don't need to show us the videos of so-and-so diddling of 12-year-old. We don't need to see that, but you can, we don't need a name of the victim either. But I mean, if Epstein had a file on somebody, chances are he was using that file to hold it over their head to get them to do what he wanted them to do. That's what we want to know. We want to know, why does it seem like so many decisions go against the best interest of Americans? And we know this blackmail bullshit plays into it. There's blackmail, there's bribing, and there's death threats. All three of those together are tactics that are used by some foreign government that we heavily fund, that we seem to always go to war for, and you are labeled and attempted to be ruined if you talk about it. And that's what people are talking about right now, and it's a major Streisand effect going on.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Absolutely. And again, the thing is, if Trump had this conversation with Bill O'Reilly, right? We're going to assume that that conversation happened. And he's saying this could hurt a lot of people who only went out to lunch with Epstein. I have actually heard this argument from people on X, and let the American people decide. I mean, the flight logs are already out. Most of these people are still safe. What you're only doing is, by closing this case, you are letting the guilty free. Like Prince Andrew is now traveling, right? So it's like, to a degree, I can understand, but you ran on full transparency, and that's what I'm just going to keep saying over and over. And the fact that he doesn't realize a lot of his base, like all of the child trafficking, groups on the right, to protect children, even libertarians, right? We're all about the NAP, right? The non-aggression principle, and children cannot consent. So you have his entire base, where their mission is either protecting their children, just, in their home, as a nuclear family, as a unit. You are having people who run these anti-trafficking organizations to save the children. And then you have libertarians who, although libertarians, sometimes I call them lawbertarians, because you never know what conversation you're going to get, depending on if you're dealing with more of a left-leaning libertarian or a right-leaning libertarian. The majority want to save children. So
there are a lot of libertarians that seem to bring up age of consent laws a lot, but that's for another
well, right. That's why, and That's why I always say, like, are you the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, or are you the Libertarian Party of Louisiana? And if you get that reference, that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, Rothbardian Mises Caucus style
Yep.
libertarian is
Versus classic liberals, essentially.
right. And I try to explain to people like how you can get leftists and conservatives in the same party. And it's because, like what you said, the whole non-aggression principle, being anti-war, pro-free speech, those aren't really partisan issues. But
Right.
the minimalization of government, having as little government as possible, you can be a leftist or a conservative and hold those views. And that's how you end up with both those factions in the party, which means
Right.
every libertarian convention turns into an absolute shit show where nobody can agree on anything. So
Right. And
That's
and
always
that's why if we were to go off of, Ron Paul and Rothbardian policies and, having candidates be universally consistent, we could have a bigger shot in, winning more of these like state elections. The presidency, we did the best when we had Gary Johnson, and that's because Bill Weld was a Republican. Or they were both Republicans at one point, right?
oh no, Bill Weld wasn't a cop. They were both Republicans. Yeah.
No,
Gary
the
Johnson
cop,
was governor
the
of New
cop,
Mexico, I believe.
yeah, the cop was the VP that was
Chase.
running with Chase Oliver,
Yeah.
who
Well, they weren't
not the
they
one
weren't
who wants
running
to have
together.
children, but yeah.
Yeah, they weren't running
Yeah.
together, and like that's another confusing thing about the Libertarian Party is the vice president has to run. Like it's not running mates; they get elected. It's
Right.
kind of silly, but and What's funny is if Rechtenwald would have won, Mike Rechtenwald, wrecked the regime, huge fan of him. He had a bit of a situation at the convention.
Termott. Impure says
Yeah.
Termott. That was the
Yeah,
VP.
who had his own.
The
He had his own
situation
like
with the
name
gummies.
spelled wrong. Yeah. So if Rechtenwald would have won the nomination, I would have been very conflicted because it's like I almost 100% agree with Rechtenwald on every issue, but I know he doesn't have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Do I still vote for Trump or do I go with? Now, when it came to Chase Oliver versus Trump, it was very easy for me. It's like, yeah, I agree with Trump on more issues than Chase Oliver. Chase Oliver's an open borders libertarian, and there's a lot of those too. There's a lot of open borders libertarians, and there's some strong arguments for open borders presented by libertarians, but that is if we live in a utopian libertarian Ancapistan where there's no nations. So it's not just having our borders. It's like, say we open our borders. Does that mean Mexico's going to open their borders? Is Canada going to open their borders? Or is there just going to be no more passports? Everybody's free to travel at will? Like it's this utopian idea. And to me, it's just this idea of real communism hasn't been tried right. Real anarchism hasn't been done right. It's like open borders.
But there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because they don't take into account the population. They don't take into account state laws versus federal laws. Like
they don't think any should exist. Like
right,
that's the
exactly,
whole, and that's the ANCAP side of the Libertarian Party too, because there's a bunch of people in the Libertarian Party who are anarcho-capitalists, and I mean, I like a lot of anarcho-capitalists. I like their ideas. I like their lines of thinking, but it's not libertarianism. You believe in the absence of a state. That is like.
Correct.
Libertarianism doesn't believe in the absence of a state. It hates the state, but it's like this idea that it's a necessary evil. And there's probably tons of people who disagree with me on everything that I just said. Actually, libertarians, you're not a real libertarian. That kind of shit, because that happens all the fucking time. But yeah, you like the open borders thing. That became like a huge issue with me while I was running. Because I also don't believe that you should be able to like shoot up fentanyl on the streets, but a lot of.
And it's right. And then that's why the Libertarian Party in a state like California isn't going to do nearly as well, right? Because you have a drug crisis and you're going to be on the sides of the Democrats if you're like, oh, provide them with clean needles. Oh, things like that. And it's like we're seeing this in real time in metropolitan cities where the homelessness rate is going up. They're being provided clean things. They're being provided housing, but not if you're a vet. You served? No, fuck the VA. Like,
Right.
it's just
I just had on Keith McHenry, who's the founder of an organization called Food Not Bombs, and he doesn't get any funding from any political organizations. He doesn't get any. He's not. It's not a non-governmental organization that gets taxpayer dollars. He goes out and feeds homeless people. That's what he does, and he had a lot of incredibly interesting things to say about the whole homeless situation. And it is the homeless industrial complex. Like you said, you got all these non-governmental organizations that are using taxpayer dollars to hand out fentanyl needles, crack pipes, foil to cook with. They hand out tents. And then there's the other aspect of it where they're building housing, affordable housing, because I talk about this all the time, where they're trying to
except
conflate.
they're not.
They are, but it's they want to build these high-rise buildings that'll cost, like 1.8 million per unit or some absurd number. Call it affordable housing instead. They're building it for homeless, and they conflate the homeless issue with the housing crisis in California as if they're the same thing. The housing crisis in California is that it's the house I grew up in is 1.4 million and it's 1,500 square feet. Like the housing crisis is that middle-class people that make $110,000, $120,000 a year can't afford to buy a home. That's the housing crisis. There's insane laws when it comes to building. You can't just buy land and build on it. You have to go through insane amounts of regulations, permitting. You're going to be $100,000 into the project before you even break ground because of all that shit. But they're trying to conflate that with the homeless issue as if all of a sudden the housing market came down by 40%, where all of a sudden houses were only $600,000 for a 1,500 square foot place. Right. Then the homeless people can afford it. Right. A $600 house.
Right.
Like they try to conflate these two issues, and it's fucking infuriating. But
yeah, well, I just wanted to, if we have time, I know there's a lot that you wanted to talk about, but I did find an article from The Independent that I just wanted to read quickly. Is that cool?
Yeah, read it. Yeah.
So Gavin, the reason why I said except they're not, is because Gavin Newsom was confronted at a press conference about a year ago about the missing $24 billion spent on tackling homelessness. So this is a huge issue. It basically says California's Governor Gavin Newsom was confronted while being probed at a press conference over the state's spending of $24 billion to tackle homelessness. So Mr. Newsom had a conference on Friday announcing that California's budget deficit is at least, so he is probably lowballing, right, at least $45 billion, and proposed various spending cuts to state workers, education programs, and health services. He also proposed reducing funding for homelessness and housing initiatives by nearly $1.2 billion, including $474 million from an anti-foreclosure program to preserve existing affordable housing. So in a state audit released in early April of 2024, it was revealed, that California spent $24 billion to tackle homelessness over the past 5 years, yet did not consistently track how exactly the huge sum of money helped the homeless crisis. So where is this money going?
And what's it being used for? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's exactly what we talked about right now. The non-governmental organizations that are given insane amounts of money, paying their executives, their CEOs, their CFOs, and all that shit in ungodly amounts of money. I talk about this a lot. Talked about it with Keith McHenry when we were talking about making $450,000 a year, and you're the head of a non-governmental organization that's considered a non-profit. And then you have these no-bid contracts going to build these skyrise, these 10-story buildings that, it's really easy to funnel money through these things, because if you're giving a no-bid contract to a union contractor, it's like, yeah, it's going to cost us X amount of money to build this thing. If they inflate that number, because they don't have any competition, so they can throw out whatever number they want. If they inflate that number by 25%, that's a big chunk of money. That's okay. We're going to take half of this money and we're going to shovel it back into the campaigns of these same politicians that gave us the no bid contracts. It's this big giant circle jerk that's done with taxpayer dollars, and it's all fraud. It's all corruption. And then you got like stuff like the high-speed rail, you know, and it's the exact same situation with the high-speed rail because you have all
Which
these
is
different
not being built.
Right. But what people aren't paying attention to is, I mean, people know about the green energy initiatives and all that shit. The offshore wind project that they have planned out in Morro Bay and parts of Northern California is going to put the high-speed rail to shame in terms of how much money is going to be funneled through it. It's fucking insane. Like, people don't understand the scale of this project. We're talking about windmills that are going to be put out in the ocean and floating and essentially daisy chained together where the cables are free floating in the water. And they're going to have windmills that are the size of the Eiffel Tower that don't biodegrade. Anybody that's ever built on the coast knows that saltwater is essentially like a sand blaster. So you already got these ones that are inland that have to be serviced and lubricated and oiled and all this shit. Well, lubricated and oiled, same thing, obviously. But they break down all the time. They're not super reliable. Putting them out in the ocean 10 times complicates that issue. And then you have to have like all these giant ships to service them. So you're going to turn Morro Bay into like an industrialized town, like a small surf and fishing town is going to be turned into this big industrialized area. And then you have these big giant battery packs that need to live on platforms out in the ocean too. And they essentially look like oil rigs, and they use seawater to cool them. Water goes up into them, cools them, and then they dump the water right back out to the ocean 20 degrees hotter. So that's going to completely screw up the ecosystem below that platform. It's so unenvironmentally friendly. Just from an environmental standpoint, the green energy stuff is the least environmental friendly thing we can do. And it's another massive money boondoggle.
And yet this is the party that cares about climate change.
Right. Well, I mean, they used to call it environmentalism, and now they just call it like climate activist or whatever. So like Santa Cruz, for example, Santa Cruz out here, they hand out fentanyl needles. There's tons we have what's called the San Lorenzo River out here, which is, it's just the watershed that comes down from the mountains. You know, you ever seen the movie The Lost Boys? I bet you have. You have, right? You know the train track where they're hanging from the bridge?
Yeah.
That's at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and the San Lorenzo River is the river that runs right under it and dumps out into the ocean. Okay, there's right across the street from Trader Joe's in Westside Santa Cruz. Tons of homeless people live all around. You got this area called the Benchlands, and then it's insane. And so they're shitting and pissing in there, and then they're dropping their fentanyl needles that are handed out. And we have steelhead trout that are endangered. It's environmental catastrophe. And then every year it rains during the winter. When we get really bad rain, the river swells up like crazy, and it just washes all that shit out to the beach. Then you got potentially kids that could be stepping on a fentanyl needle. Anyway, at the same time, Santa Cruz makes everybody hand out paper straws, so you can go shoot up fentanyl with your government supplied fentanyl needle, and then you can go over to Chipotle and have your burrito with a drink, and you got to drink out of a paper straw. No drink.
And you have to drink it within like 20 minutes because otherwise those straws get soggy as fuck. And some places don't even have straws at all anymore. Like if you go to Starbucks as an example, because they have like those sippy lids, they're like, no, you don't need a straw. And it's like, I'm not a child. Like I don't want something out of a sippy cup. I want a fucking straw.
Yeah, California is absolutely insane, and that's why it's even funnier.
It does nothing. It does nothing. And did you know that while everything was going on with COVID, like the main perpetrator of trash in the ocean were the masks?
Oh, don't even fucking get me started. Like you know what happened with me in the mask, right? No? Oh, like that's why I assume most people started following me, because like I just assumed that's why you followed me. In February of 2023, so think about how late in the COVID game that is. February of 2023, that's after Biden straight up said it's over. It's after the Supreme Court ruled that you couldn't fire people, companies with 100 employees or more, like they couldn't be fired for refusing to take the shot. COVID was over. February of 2023, I'm out at a job site in Pacific Heights of San Francisco. You ever been there?
I've been to San Fran. I don't think that area specifically.
Pacific Heights is Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood. It's up on top of the hill. It overlooks the
Oh.
Palace of Fine Arts. It overlooks Alcatraz, the Golden Gate Bridge. It's the most expensive area. Pacific Heights, Presidio Heights, they're like the most expensive areas in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah. I'm familiar with Presidio Heights.
Yeah, you're talking about mansions, like absolute mansions. You know, Julia Roberts lives over there. Tons of huge names. They got houses over there. I'm working. I worked for an audio video company doing like residential smart homes. You know, like TVs, speakers, lighting control, shades, dedicated movie theaters, all that kind of shit. We're on this job site of a house that's in this neighborhood that's a true 3-story house that also has an attic and also has a basement. So this is 5 fucking stories with a rooftop deck, by the way. So we're talking $10 million home at least, you know.
Easily, yeah.
So the company I worked for was a very, very high-end company. You knew who my clients were, like the people who I did jobs for. We're out at this job site. I'm there for like 3 months just wiring the house. It's like all the drywall's down, plumbing's gutted, like the house is gutted. We're just running all our wires through the walls and everything, getting everything ready for when they put drywall, come back, we put all our stuff in. There for 3 fucking months, dead of winter, and the pre-wire finished. I get called back to do like a half day worth of work. We're just moving some wires from one spot to the other. And I'm thinking it's going to be an early day. It's just becoming spring, you know. It's like it's February 3rd, actually. February 3rd but it was a nice day. I was looking forward to it. It was a Friday. I think it was a Friday. It was either Thursday or Friday, but I was going to get off early. I was stoked to go in and walk in. I go up to the area. I start unpacking my tools and shit. And all of a sudden the guy I'm working with comes up and he hands me a mask. He's like, "Hey, they got a mask mandate here." And I just go, "I will not comply." Just like kind of tongue in cheek, but serious, you know, because literally a few weeks before that, I just said to myself, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. And if anybody even pushes me on it, I'm going to put my foot down and I'm not going to participate in any of this bullshit anymore. So I said that. And all of a sudden the foreman for the job, who's like 5 foot nothing, this tiny little guy, comes running around the corner and he's pissed. And he starts laying into me about how the city of San Francisco will close the job site down if they get more than 3 COVID cases. If they get 3 COVID cases, then San Francisco will shut down their job site. I was like, he goes off on like a 1.5-minute diatribe, and he finishes, and I just look at him. I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with me wearing a mask? And that just pissed him off. He fucking set him off. He goes around the corner. He calls my project manager, who I've known for 15 years. And my project manager calls me and he straight up says, "What did you do?" And like, he's laughing, you know. And I was like, fuck, you know, this is turning into a thing. Like, it just escalated so quickly, you know. And
I mean, 2023, to be fair, is wild because I feel like by that point it was kind of by city. Like down, I mean, we never complied down here, but with Newsom, you know, he had all these rules. Like, do you remember the rules where you couldn't go to a park and all of the public equipment was just completely like red zoned? And
they bulldozed the skate park at Venice Beach.
And it was like you could wear a mask inside, like you had to wear a mask inside and also outside while you were dining. It was just like the weirdest shit in the world. Like, I think you probably could have been like, "Oh, I have anxiety, or I'm claustrophobic, or I have a cardiac condition." I don't know. I mean,
that's not the end of the story. So my project manager's laughing. He's like, "You really going to do this?" And I said, "I guess so." And he's like, "All right, dude." He was like, "All right." And he gets off the phone, and then all of a sudden the owner of the company calls me. And it's a smaller company, but, you know, it's not a tiny company. Owner calls me. He's fucking pissed. But my owner's cool as shit. Like, he agrees with us on most stuff. He's the one that taught me how to take apart my AR and clean it. Like, I went shooting with him a whole bunch of times. Cool ass dude. He was pissed because now I'm fucking with his money, you know? So he sends me home. He tells me I'm furloughed, whatever that means. So I start driving home and his wife calls me, who's the head of HR. And she's like, "You're not furloughed. You're not fired. Don't worry. Just come in tomorrow." Oh, it wasn't Thursday. So she's like, "Come in tomorrow and we'll, you know, talk about it, whatever." I drive home. I'm like, "I'm getting fucking fired tomorrow." I was like, "I know I'm getting fired." and I cleaned out all of my tools from the van. I cleaned out like everything, and I go in there the next day. They sit me down, and they weren't going to fire me, but they told me, we're going to write you up, and you need to be you need to abide by company policies moving forward. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to wear a mask though. And they're like, well, that's not abiding by company policies. I'm like, show me in the handbook where it says I have to wear a mask, And then I started using the arguments like you're talking about. I wear glasses when it's like 40 to 50 degrees in a basement and I'm working in there. Every time I breathe, my glasses fog up and I'm drilling holes on top of a ladder. Like, this isn't like, also, like, I'm an ultra marathon runner who takes really good care of myself. I'm not scared of COVID in the fucking least. And I don't have COVID, So anyway, like, I told them I wasn't willing to wear a mask. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to consider this a separation then. I was like, all right, well, I'm not quitting, because you could tell what they're trying to get me to do. They're trying to get me to, and they're like, okay, then we're gonna have to consider this a termination. I was like, fucking hell, like, I'm really doing this right now. Like, I could have just put the fucking mask on, right? So I still had my company van, so I had to drive home, and they sent the warehouse guy home, like, to follow me to pick up the company van. And as I'm driving home, I called my best friend. He was like, you should just make a video about it and post it on Twitter or whatever. I had like 400 followers on Twitter. So I make a video and I'm just ranting and raving. It's like a 3-minute video, and I post it. Didn't think anything of it. Like, just, that's it. I did it while I was driving, posted it. And I get home and the whole thing fucking exploded. And what's funny is one of the people that shared it was Cat Turd, ironically. And
does he remember you?
I don't think so, but probably if you saw the, like, if you realized that I'm the guy from the mask video in San Francisco, he probably would remember.
He's so going to be showing this.
What happened, I got a call from Tucker Carlson's booking agent. And she reached out to me on Instagram because my Twitter was blowing up so much. I couldn't see like who was sending me what. She reached out to me on Instagram, and I ended up going on Tucker Carlson the next day. And like, everything exploded from there. But I was also like basically blacklisted from residential audio video, and I was out of work for like a year and a half. Nobody would touch me. I'd get it. And my resume is fucking impressive. I've been doing this 19 years, and my resume looks good. I know what I'm doing too. I'll put my my skill level up against pretty much anybody, in the audio video world. And I'd get interviews, and they would just ghost me. I shit you not, I probably had close to 100 interviews. It was absolutely insane. And then I decided to just go back to the commercial world. So now I'm doing it commercially and risking my job every day talking about stuff like this. Because, like, if this blows up and I say the wrong thing about Israel, somebody's going to be calling my boss. So that's my story. Sorry, it's like, I told you I had to make everything about me. My narcissism.
No, like, look, I didn't know about it. I'm your co-host. I'm here to learn.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, I just assumed, like, that's why most people started following me. But
I think it was because it was like I don't know if it was like the honey badger. It was like someone I knew. No, it was way before that, because you invited me to that space. But I remember we first started like really communicating when we had the space in regards to, was it the fires or was it prior to that? It was something that had to do with California, because I believe she's also in California. So it was
we were talking a lot during the fires, though.
Yeah, we were. But I don't think that was the first time that we were really talking. But I think it might have been because we were both in a space related to New Scum.
Yeah.
And kind of got each other's information like via that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, like before we started the show, I kind of went on a hiatus while it was Twitter. And then when I came back when it was X, I came back to late December 2023. So that would have been after that incident. Yeah.
Yeah, it was early 2023, but
yeah,
it's been a whirlwind since then, because it's very weird. Like my life hasn't changed. I'm still like same, I still do the same shit. I'm like pretty low key. I don't go out and like go to bars or anything like that. But every now and then I'll be in like 7-Eleven or something. Somebody will come up to me and be like, "Hey, are you Michael?" Or sometimes people even say, "Are you the mountain goat guy?" And it's fucking bizarre. It doesn't happen a ton. It's not like I'm famous or anything, but it is weird when it happens, because it's like, fuck, this is just bizarre, But yeah, Twitter, it's very, very odd place. The thing I like about Twitter the most is you can call like a really famous or a really powerful person a retard, and there's a non-zero chance that they'll say it or that they'll see it. You know, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, this Epstein shit. So, are you good to keep
long tangent? But that's
I
what I
know.
like. That's what I like.
Are you good to keep going?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool. So I want to talk about like the astroturfing aspect of it now. So there's this guy, Bill Mitchell. Do you know who Bill Mitchell is?
Unfortunately.
Okay, so I'd never heard of him, but he's been like tweeting nonstop about this. Well, he's a big account, and he's been tweeting nonstop about this Epstein stuff. Like, we all need to get over the Epstein stuff, but I'm going to post about it every fucking hour. It's so bizarre.
He flip-flopped between like he was like really, really big in the DeSantis camp, and he kind of like flip-flopped between like DeSantis and Trump like overnight. And I was never necessarily a DeSantis supporter, but I wasn't a hater either. Just kind of like how I was with Trump. I was never like MAGA, but I wasn't a hater either. And, you know, like I said, I've always been libertarian leaning, and at the end of the day, if I'm going to go between Harris and Trump, and since RFK was my guy, I went with Trump. So that's kind of my pipeline, more or less. So, I didn't really care too much about like the feud and the infighting, but he was really big with reporting on DeSantis, and then he flipped, right when Trump was, winning the primaries. And he got a lot of heat from the DeSantis camp. And ever since then, he's kind of been more or less a bootlegger. But
interesting. That's kind of how Ben Shapiro was too. Yeah, there was a big split in MAGA when DeSantis was running, and I'm similar. I'm a libertarian, but I was never like hardcore Trump. I don't understand why this is so like such a controversial stance to take. If Trump does something good, I'm going to say, yay, Trump good. If Trump does something bad, I'm going to say, boo, Trump bad. Like
the mental gymnastics is like so strong. I just kind of think it's more of a, I don't care. I'm pretty outspoken about this. I think there are, for the most part, the majority of my friends are conservative, libertarian or conservative. But I would say, I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that make politics. I'm not going to say just MAGA, okay? I know it is a lot more prevalent now, but I think there are a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that really make politics their entire personality. And because they don't really have much more to go on, most of the time they won't even read the bills. They won't even, quite understand what's going on. It's just they want to support their guy or girl. They believe that politicians are like above the law. They believe that they're holy grail. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, politicians work for you, and the state is corrupt. And so, again, applaud what you can, but be very critical. And I agree with you. I don't know why that's such a hard concept.
Well, and there's a lot of things to criticize right now. Like something else that, like what Trump talked about, but leading up to the big beautiful bill. Like I said earlier, you got an additional 1.5 billion for Pentagon funding. Right before this, Trump talks about how he wants to use Palantir to build essentially a dossier on every American.
That's a red flag. The whole Palantir thing. Nope.
People don't know what Palantir is. Tons of people have no idea what Palantir is and how insidious what they're building is.
Surveillance.
Not really. No. So, like, are you familiar with the Palantir Gotham program?
Not specifically, no.
It's essentially pre-crime. Palantir doesn't collect data. They're not the people that are collecting data. X collects data. YouTube collects data. Fucking Bank of America collects data. Visa, your ID, all of your location data, all your purchase history, everything you said online, everything you bought from Amazon. That's why you buy something from Amazon and then you start seeing ads for that shit over on YouTube. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
They're responsible for creating a national database, though, of all
Yes,
of
but
everything
what?
that they are getting from surveillance programs.
Well, they're not. So all of these different companies that are collecting data on you. Well, so Palantir will work for whoever. They'll use their software for whoever, including government agencies. So if government agencies collect all, also your data that is collected by all these different companies can be sold to anybody. So if the government wants to buy your data, not you specifically, but like, hey, all this data collected from everyone, we'll buy it. So you're collecting location data, purchase data, social media data, any data. Like I wear this Garmin watch. It tracks my heart rate. It tracks how many steps I've taken, where I've been, my sleeping habits, everything about me. People don't understand that everything about you, that data is collected, and it can be sold off to the highest bidder. So if government agencies are collecting all your data, where nothing you do is private anymore, they can tell when you're pooping. If they feed all of this data into an algorithm, that algorithm spits out what you're likely to do, and they'll use it for we need to tell. It's the whole Patriot Act shit. We need to stop the terrorists. You know, we need to, and it's pre-crime. It's fucking Minority Report is what it is. And they're like, think if you want to create a ranking system of who's likely to do, you name it, who's likely to put on a fucking suicide vest, who's likely, but then what happens when it morphs into who's likely to criticize a foreign government, who's likely to whatever they don't want you to do. They now have that tool available to them. It is the Patriot Act. And like, to me, that's a huge thing that should be criticized about Trump right now. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about how like it's frustrating because I voted for the guy, and people think because I'm criticizing him that for like, oh, I'm a leftist. It's like, no, I fucking hate them too. I hate Gavin Newsom, and I can't stand what Trump's doing.
Leftists don't criticize. Leftists don't do their own research to criticize on issues that are actually going to impact them. Leftists are like some do, I would say, but I would say the majority of leftists, it has more to do with you know, a gender ideology, wars, having to do with, you know, government assisted programs, things like that. I think leftists tend to be more vocal on compared to what's really going on, because we have a lot of these conspiracy theorists on our side, a lot of the tin foil hat wearers. Like, we really don't have that equivalent on the left side, I'd say. So I'd say there's certain issues that the left is up in arms about. But I mean, issues like this, we need to be holding this administration accountable. And of course, this is all founded by Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Alex Karp.
Yeah. Yeah.
The transhumanists.
Right. Correct. And like, this is a very technocratic administration right now. And I think that, you know, with the American Party, with Elon Musk, I think that would be a technocratic administration plus H-1Bs. And everything's just starting to overlap, man. Like, it's becoming really scary.
Yeah, everything is fake and gay. And and there is so much overlap. Like, I don't trust Elon either, you know, and
Yeah.
I've been
No, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
but if you criticize certain things, you're going to be put into a box. They're going to, you know, and that's why so many people are like, I'm politically homeless right now, because I got libertarians telling me I'm not a real libertarian because I don't believe in open borders. I've got the cat turd army coming at me, calling me a communist. I've got less leftists calling me a maggot. You know, it's like, okay, like,
yeah,
all right, we're good. You know, like,
yeah,
I guess that's how it is. And yeah, you can't, it's this tribalist mentality, cult-like mentality. It's like that you have to endorse every position of the party. And it's like, if you have I said this the other day, if you have unwavering loyalty to a government or a politician, your fucking priorities are all messed up. Like, what?
like, it's crazy because it's like, because we're calling out flaws and bait and switch situations within the administration, we're dooming. And it's like, no, you're just not being a critical thinker, and you are putting our future into the hands of a government that you should never fully trust. I mean, I've always kind of been, black-pilled to a degree, right? Because I'm like, don't trust the government. The government doesn't have your back. But especially to be known as dooming when you're criticizing like one of the biggest scandals of Trump's both of combined administrations. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's not dooming. That is holding people accountable who should be held accountable. And like, I have the memory of a peanut, right? But I still know what we were promised and what we're being given. And we're being given breadcrumbs or like an Uno reverse.
Well, it's the biggest part for me is how Trump's entire campaign was going against the deep state, draining the swamp. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, okay, I'm going to plug Pam Bondi in there. I'm going to plug Kash Patel in there. I'm going to plug Dan Bongino in there. Dan Bongino being the one that I actually had the highest hopes for, and Tulsi too. But you still have all of the same.
I have my hopes for Tulsi. I'm still kind of a Tulsi simp.
We'll see. She's been on every side of she's been on every side of every issue, but we'll see. But the point is, like, you still had FBI agents in the crowd on J6 instigating a riot. Like, you still had the FBI and the CIA colluding with intelligence agencies to cover up the Hunter Biden laptop story and had anybody kicked off the internet who said anything about it. You still have all of these deep state people that did everything they could to throw the 2020 election. And when I say the 2020 election was rigged, I'm not talking about ballots. I'm not talking about the Dominion shit, though I think there is something there. But just with the Hunter Biden laptop story alone, just with that alone and everything contained on it, if that story had come out, Trump would have won in 2020, if you ask me. That's how they rolled the 2020 election.
I believe so as well.
And then, so after all of that, after all of the 2020 bullshit and raging against the deep state, you are now defending those exact same people. And I mean, talking about how Epstein, the search warrant for his house was very narrow, which was done by the FBI. It seems that there's lots of collusion with the FBI and whatever intelligence agency was running Epstein. And then that goes back to Meyer Lansky, who he represented, blackmailing J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI. Like, this shit has been happening for a long ass time.
Since 2005, right?
Well, no, since the creation of the FBI. Like, well,
I'm talking about Epstein specifically, though.
Well, I mean, Epstein's been doing stuff since the 80s.
No, but I mean the investigation into Epstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since the early 2000s. Alex Jones has been talking about Epstein since fucking like 2004.
I know. It's so funny because before when I only listened to mainstream media, like I've pretty much been like a libertarian since like 2015, with kind of like my ideology hasn't really shifted too much. I mean, it's shifted to the right a little bit. But I just remember like thinking Alex Jones was like such a radical, and like InfoWars was like never credible. And I'm like, they've actually been right about so many things.
A lot. Yeah, a lot. I mean, Alex Jones to me isn't even like he still sort of steers clear and runs cover for certain issues. Like, you could tell
a lot more now.
Yeah, but I mean, you got guys like Owen Schroyer and Harrison. Yep. I can't remember Harrison. I can't remember his last name right now.
Is it Smith?
Yeah, I think so. Oh,
no, it sounds right, but yeah, let me check.
But Owen Schroyer and Owen had me on his show after the whole mask fiasco. I went on his show after it. Yeah, we talked for like a half an hour. Owen was cool as shit too, and Owen is like no fear when it comes. I mean, dude, this is a guy that actually went to prison for January 6th stuff, where over words that he said. about January 6th. And again, like, we're not looking into any of that. Trump, like, what the FBI did to the J6ers was unforgivable, and nobody's gone to prison. Nobody's been investigated. Like, you can't just plug in
It's
Kash Patel and
almost
Jan.
like,
What?
I don't know. I was gonna, almost like it was controlled opposition. We already know the feds were involved.
You mean Trump being put? Well, okay. Well, I'm not sure what you're getting at, but leading up to the 2024 election, I was like, there's no fucking way they're going to let Trump back in office. There's no way at all. And then he gets in, and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, they still have control over everything. So how did this happen? And now you're seeing so much of his behavior that is so pro a certain countries that donated a whole.
Like that. Was he not? I mean,
he was.
To me,
he was pro
he's always
Israel.
been the most pro-Israel president we've ever had. Like, his first term, he was as well.
He was, but I mean, if you remember back in 2020 when Biden won the election, Netanyahu was the first foreign leader to come out and congratulate Joe Biden, and that was when things were still being legitimately contested, you know. And like, there were still lawsuits in that the Supreme Court hadn't seen yet. Like, there was still stuff up in the air, and Netanyahu, like, you know, granted, I guess Netanyahu used to stay in Jared Kushner's bed, like, when he would come. You don't know, not together.
Okay. No, I assume that. No, I assume that. But
as far as oh yeah, dude, Jared Kushner is, like, I don't know if is it Ivana Trump, his daughter? Ivanka was.
Ivanka.
Is it Ivanka? I don't know if she
Ivana was his first wife.
Gotcha. I don't know if she converted to Judaism, but, you know, she did. Yeah. See, and Trump and Netanyahu go way back. So, like, I don't know. It is hard to tell, but, you know, and he did do the whole Abraham Accords thing, moving the embassy to Jerusalem and all that shit. But now, I mean, we're talking about things on a whole different level, where the Iran shit, like, I mean, for fucking decades now, like you said earlier, they've been trying to go to war with Iran. There's that general, what's his name? It wasn't Flynn, was it? I can't remember the name of the general who talked about how they want to overthrow 7 governments in 5 years. Have you seen this clip?
No.
Oh, fuck. Now I got to find it. All right, hold on. I got to find this clip. I'm surprised you haven't seen this. Let me just, sorry, I don't want to have dead air, but I have to show you this clip now. Okay. So Wesley Clark. So let me, we gotta see this now. Okay. So I'm going to play this clip for you, and just, you tell me what you think. This is bonkers. This is absolutely bananas what Wesley Clark shared here. And we'll talk about it after. But here, let's see this one. Yep. Okay. You see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Listen to what he says here.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. So I came back to see him a few weeks later. And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper. He said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Notice anything about that? All of those countries, except for Iran, their governments have been toppled and overthrown.
Well, do you know that we're still striking Somalia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's what do all those countries have in common too? They're Israel's biggest threats, biggest enemies. And we always seem to, every time we go to war in the Middle East, it always seems to have the same sort of reason behind it. And to me, like, so war has to be supposed to be voted on, right? We're supposed to have an act of war, but
And
if you want, it never is, but you have to have, you at least have to have the support of certain politicians, primarily the president, right?
Right.
Well, if there's a blackmail operation going on that will expose your dirty deeds and you want somebody to do a certain thing, like, to me, the Epstein stuff and our foreign policy, it all ties together, all of it. And this isn't just about human trafficking and the horrible shit that they did. The horrible shit that they did is just the primary thing that they're using. It's not, it's the horrible shit that they did isn't the motive for why they did the horrible shit. Like, Epstein's just sitting back there, like, watching, it's like, now I got this on you, it was Epstein working for.
So do you believe this was orchestrated as essentially Epstein being a honeypot, and he being a Mossad agent, and then knowing how perverse people are, going to all of these, high influential parties and recruiting people just to hold it over their heads so that they can do what the intelligence agency and Israel wants them to do? Is that kind of
100%? And I think Diddy was doing the same thing and working for the same people, but that was more not for foreign policy, obviously, but to spread a pro-Israel sentiment.
So I didn't tell you about this, but I've actually been doing a deep dive into Diddy. So I've been doing a lot of research into Diddy, but that hasn't quite been an angle that I've explored. I've explored more of, we know he's being protected, but does it go higher than Clive Davis?
Explore his bodyguard. His bodyguard, who is the same bodyguard of Michael Jackson.
Okay, interesting. And I do firmly believe that he was involved in what happened to Biggie, because about everything with Suge Knight and Officer Poole and the corruption within the LAPD and that whole thing.
Right, and then that kind of
I always wondered why. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that ties into is it Paul O'Neill, Peter O'Neill, Tom O'Neill, his book Chaos. It's it sucks because the more you dig into this stuff, the more you become the guy that has all the pictures on the wall with the red strings and the thumbtacks connecting everything together. It sucks. It kind of does sucks. The deeper I get into this shit, the more I identify with Cypher from the Matrix, where he gets plugged back into the Matrix. He's eating the steak and he's like, I just want to forget everything.
You're like, are we in a simulation right now?
I refuse to believe that we're in a simulation, because if that is true, then you have to become nihilist. It's a fucked up simulation.
Yeah.
Well, you also have to become nihilist, and you have to. If we're in a simulation, then nothing we do matters, right? And I refuse.
Or you could try to break the Matrix and get out. I don't believe we're in a simulation either, but there are podcasts, libertarian podcasts on X that specifically have the idea that we're stuck in a simulation, essentially.
I mean, Elon thinks that there is a high probability that we're in the Matrix. So I don't know. We should do a whole episode on Diddy, though. I've done a couple of episodes on Diddy. I did a whole episode on Palantir too. To me, Palantir is one of the biggest things, the biggest, most important things that's going on right now, and nobody's paying attention to it. Well, nobody's few people talking about attention.
It. Yeah.
Man, there's so much. I can't. I'm actually surprised. I thought we were going to get through all this stuff, and there's going to be so much shit to talk about. But Yeah,
we kind of had a lot of tangents, which is there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, fuck. But I will mention there's so the money in Epstein's account still moving around. You heard about this?
No.
Okay, so I do want to read a little bit. So this is an article from the People's Voice. So a judge in the Virgin Islands has declared there's no explanation for why millions of dollars have been moving between one of Jeffrey Epstein's secret bank accounts after his alleged death. Tens of millions of dollars have been flowing from Epstein's estate into the Virgin Islands account since his alleged suicide. To make matters even more suspicious, the account was nearly cleaned out by the beginning of 2020, with no clear explanation of where the money went. The news that somebody has been using Epstein's account since his death has added credibility to the rumors that the disgraced associate of multiple VIPs elites is still alive. So, like,
Witness protection.
If the money's still moving around, how can the investigation be over? You know, like, hey, Pam Bondi, like, are you gonna look into that at all, or Kash Patel? Are you gonna look into that?
Why can't somebody still talk to Ghislaine?
Why is Ghislaine? Is it Ghislaine or Ghislaine? I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't get a straight answer on it. It's like Qatar or Qatar. I don't know. I don't know how you say it. But why is she in jail?
Yeah. Well, now there's probably going to be an appeal process.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the whole thing is freaking
screwed. That way, Trump doesn't have to pardon her, because that is a very dark theory.
Yeah, I mean, he even, yeah.
Do you remember how vague he was when they were talking about Diddy?
No.
He was like, I would have to learn all the facts about it.
Right.
Like, okay.
Yeah,
okay, do you want to learn more about the thousands of bottles, baby oils, that were laced with GHP that got absorbed through the skin and is a rape drug?
Oh, that's what GHP is? It's a date rape drug?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, the Diddy situation is like another rabbit hole. And I said the other day, I was like, there's so many rabbit holes that you can go down, but once you go down enough of them, you realize that they all connect below the surface. Like, they all go to the same big fucking cave, the big cave filled with satanic pedophiles. You sound like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist when you say it, but like, and all of this Epstein stuff is essentially built on circumstantial evidence. But like, cases have been won in court based purely on circumstantial evidence, because it's like, yeah, you can have like one or two or three things and it could be dismissed. But when you have hundreds of things and a demonstrated
and witnesses,
pattern,
though, there's witnesses. That's not substantial or circumstantial.
Well, I'm more talking about the blackmail aspect of it.
Yeah.
You know, like when you learn that this method has been used for a very long time by all these same people, the blackmail method, getting highly influential people or politicians, decision makers, in compromising situations so you can gain blackmail on them to get them to do what you want. This isn't a new idea. This isn't a new practice, and it's been widely practiced in all sorts of different corners, in Hollywood, Diddy, in the political realm, Epstein, and then in the intelligence agency realm with Meyer Lansky and J. Edgar Hoover. And it's the way so many people are dismissing it, or seemingly dismissing it, that really want this story to go away. It just makes it more suspicious to me. All of it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like, I think there really are the Trump can do no wrong people out there that are genuinely in a cult. But I do also think that there's people that are getting paid to try to push a narrative. And
yeah, I mean, you know, I hate to say this, but it was pretty apparent that there was an algorithm push that was lifting up right-wing accounts prior to the election. There was definitely manipulation there.
On Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that. I mean, even though like tons of people on the left just disappeared and went over to Blue Sky or whatever, but
I think it was a combination of the both for sure. Because now all of a sudden Blue Sky is like kind of dwindling, and like I don't know if that was an operation to just try to get people to move off the platform so that we would only see right-wing content. I don't really know. But I tried Blue Sky for like a day and then I got censored. And I
I got
forgot who
kicked
it
off with my
was.
first post.
Yeah, I got censored, and then I don't know if it was Abby Libby. It was someone, some female creator on X who said like there's two genders, and then she got kicked off.
I got permanently suspended from Blue Sky with my first post. I just first thing I posted was "Evening retards. Is this where I find Don Lemon?" And they kicked me off. That was it. It's my only post ever on Blue Sky. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Well, all right. I didn't get into a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to, but that just means we have to do this again.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, if there's any information on Diddy that you would like me to share as well, I do have a deep dive that I do Monday nights at 7:30. And we'll be going into the timeline of the trial next week. But I'm more than happy to like share thoughts with you about it. To go over what we didn't go over tonight. It
Okay, is that a live stream or a space?
It's going to be pre-recorded, but it's going to go off as a live stream.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just message me. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. No, if there's ever anything, if you ever want me to join you on any of your stuff too, let me know. If you want to do a space, yeah, we got to talk about just like purely California stuff too, because like that's my wheelhouse. And yeah, this is this stuff makes me crazy. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so people can find me. I was actually wondering if I could change my settings on here. I don't think you can while you're live. But yeah, I go by that Valley Girl. You can find me on X at the Cali Melody. So TheCaliMelody. And that's pretty much only it for right now. And then I do live streams on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time on X and on Rumble at Romanation.
Awesome. You guys give her a follow. She is a actually based one who isn't scared to criticize the people that need to be criticized. So all right. Well, before we get out of here, I always have to end the show with a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. So
wait, you wrote that?
No, I didn't write it. I wish I wrote it. No, this is literally just a book full of Chuck Norris jokes. That's all it is. And it's wonderful.
Okay, let's see if I laugh.
They sometimes suck. They're sometimes absolutely stupid. I open the book, I look at a joke, and I just read it. So we'll see what we got tonight. All right. A good way to tell if you're about to be attacked by Chuck Norris is to notice the music becoming more intense. You might also see ninjas scoping you out from behind the trees and on the roofs. Death is certain at this point. And on that note, stay CaliBased.